Welcome to Duncan's Repair Tips. In this video I will show you how I changed the cigarette lighter socket in a BMW X3 from a permanent live to an ignition live.
Okay, so what I've done here is the BMW X3, the cigarette lighter is a permanent live, which is a bit of a pain really, because you just want to leave something plugged in. You know, I've got this little cup holder thing there and I want to plug it in and leave it plugged in, and you can't because it stays live, which is obviously going to drain your battery. Some people on forums say it cuts off. Mine doesn't seem to cut off after any time. I've left mine 15-20 minutes, come back to the car and it's still live, so it's not worth the risk, because if I've got that plugged in it's always going to stay live. You don't really want that. So I had this on my Skoda as well. So what I've done is I've changed the wiring, or I am in the process of changing the wiring on the cigarette lighter, so that it's no longer a permanent live, it's an ignition live. Now, to get to the cigarette lighter in the centre console there has been a bit of a pain. The first thing you need to do is this top bit here. Pointed out with the pliers there, that top bit, the air vents, you need to unclip. They unclip quite easily at the sides. Just use I used an unclip tool, something like that, just in the side, pull it out, and that's how I got that out. So you have to get that out first. You can that then allows you to pull this centre console part out here that goes over the radio and has the aircon stuff on it. That again just clips off. You can literally pull that off with your hands once you've got this off. So that was pretty straightforward. The next tricky bit was getting this silver facing off here. Two screws at the top, one there and one there, which came off straight away, but then you have to flip the middle of the gear stick here out, which then reveals two screw holes. You can see one there, and there's one at the other side as well. There's also some of these little clips, if you can see that little clip, they go on the front here and that corner there, and you have to clip those back in. Can be a bit of a pain to do. Took me a bit fiddling to get it out, but it's out. Got it out, and basically underneath there, as you can see, is the wiring for the cigarette lighter. There's two wires that go into it initially. There's a brown wire and a red wire. I did double check with the meter, test meter there, as to which wire is live. Never trust it, because in some instances obviously red is live and brown is live. In this case the red was the live wire. So basically what I've done, in order to keep that clip so it pushes in easy enough, I've just basically cut the red wire, and I've fed my own wire here behind the dash, and it comes out here under the fuse box. Shine a bit of a light on it there and wiggle it, as you can see there. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to wire it into the fuse box there with the help of one of those. If you can see that, that is a fuse doubler, and I'm basically going to pop that in line with an ignition live, and then we're going to have an ignition live feed to the cigarette lighter. One thing you will have to do is make sure you replace the fuse like for like. In this case the fuse is going to be a 20 amp, so I'm going to find an ignition live. I've just got there's two fuse slots in there, one which feeds the current fuse that you're replacing, and one that feeds the wire that's going out, which is going to connect in line with the cigarette lighter. So what I'm going to do is find an ignition live, which I haven't done yet, but there will be one in there. I know that for a fact, there will be something. Keep the initial fuse in there and replace the other fuse with the same that the cigarette lighter's got, which is a 20 amp. Now I'm not going to take the fuse out of the cigarette lighter one, because I think that may also feed the cigarette lighter in the boot as well, which I'm not bothered about because I don't really use it. So I'm going to leave that as it is. The only one I was concerned about was that one. So what I've done there, as you can see, pretty decent job, hopefully. You know, that's not going to short out or anything with the connector, but you can do a clip-on connector or whatever as you want. Also, where the end I've cut off, as I've put one of those on as well. So you can just see it under there. Again, you could just tape that up, but you always run the risk of the tape coming off, and I always prefer to secure it somehow. So putting a connector block on is ideal, because it's you know, it's going nowhere, it's not going to short out on anything, and the tape's not going to drop off. So next job, like I say, is find this wire, a new home in the fuse box. That's going to give us an ignition live. A couple of jobs actually I need to do at some point is replace the actual BMW business radio, which is going to be pretty straightforward for the radio part. The next job I want to do is fit my dash cam, which again, luckily I can tap off that ignition live again, because I just want an ignition live on the dash cam. So I'm going to run a feed from there as well to feed my dash cam, so I'll have to take the side off here and, you know, put it around the edge of the windscreen and whatever. Probably do a separate video on that, but that's how you do it. The fuse, I believe, for, on mine anyway, I think it was fuse number 47, if I remember right. Just having a look. Yeah, fuse 47, which was a 20 amp. So I'm going to find an ignition live now, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I've just found an ignition live. Don't know if you can see that. I've basically gone, can't see that, can you? It's got a bit blurry. Okay, so I've gone with number 24, which is the parking sensors. There we go. And I've put the fuse doubler in. I've got a wire hanging off there going to my test meter, and I've got the ignition on at the moment. So as you can see on my meter, we've got nothing there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this end now, and see the door there? I'm just going to hold that against the metal of the door, and bang, there we go, we've got 12 volts on the meter. All I'm doing there is pushing that against that screw there, because that's an earth contact, if you like. I've got the other end just sat there. So fuse double in, so we're sorted now with that. We know that works because I've got the ignition in. I've just tried it. I've just turned the ignition off and we'll get nothing on the meter, but the ignition's on at the minute, so we've got the expected 12 volts on the meter. So I just pause the video there and come back. So what I've done now is I've just shoved the end of the brown wire into the red one that goes into the fuse box. I haven't tidied it up or anything yet, I just want to test it and prove it works. So that's going into there now, and let's see what happens. So at the moment my ignition is off. It's a bit blurred, I don't know why that's showing blurred, but yeah, at the moment my ignition is off. Let's turn the ignition on, see what happens. There we go, and that suddenly springs to life. There you go, it's working perfect. Ignition off again now. There we go, ignition off, ignition on, and we've got the required 12 volts going to that. So now the next task for me is to tidy all this mess up and put it all back together so I know what I'm doing. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Any questions, please do ask. Obviously it's the reverse of putting all this back. Put the silver frame back first, slide the middle bit in with the adjustable controls for the heating, and then slide the top bit in there afterwards. Just click it in over the top afterwards. And there we have the finished job. Do make sure you get the fuses in the right way round, because it is a fuse doubler, so I tested mine with my meter first to make sure. You should probably know, a fan of using connector blocks. Simple and easy, safe and secure probably. But yeah, there we go, it's in, it's working, tested it, I'm happy with it, so all the dashboard can now go back.
Please click the subscribe button to be notified about new videos on my YouTube channel.